Okay, got it home, just about ready to paint it. I'm going to use the KBS system. I think it's very similar to FJ45, I hope so. There's I suppose the FJ15 equivalent. It's like a rust encapsulator. Not that this thing's got any rust in it at all, but it's supposed to be very, very tough. And then I'll go over with the top coat, which is a chassis black, so a satin, because out of the can, the first stuff, the rust encapsulator, is a bit shiny. So you just do wet on wet or semi spray it on, wait 2 hours for it to tacky, doesn't leave a fingerprint, and hit it again. So just hope I can get it all on. It's 11 AM. So 3 shots, 6 hours, 5 o'clock should be the last one. Then it gets dark and damp. So I hope that doesn't hurt it. Anyway, she's all ready to go. Absolutely incredible job. All inside the rails, everything. Like brand new metal. Could not be happier. I'm glad I took all those brackets off that were a bit sus. The suspension ones. So the go is I'm going to paint it, and then I'll grade 8 or grade whatever it is, 10 or something, nut and bolt those brackets back on. I may sand this paint between the bracket and the chassis, I'm not sure, then just maybe give it a coat, then put the bracket on while the paint's wet. I don't know about that. Do a bit of research. Anyway, I'm really happy to have the chassis back, so I'm going to get the chassis. The plan is to paint it and just keep working on the chassis. I've done all the diffs and all the brackets and all the other chassis stuff, so I'll put it all back together, or get it rolling, get the chassis rolling, give me a bit more room in the other shed, so then I can start doing the cab, which is exciting stuff. Anyway, next time you see it, I hope it's nice chassis black colour. Got the first coat on, looking good. It's KBS Rust Seal, that's the name of it. And then I'm going to do 2 coats of Rust Seal, and then a coat of top coat, or black top, something like that, in chassis. This is supposed to be satin. It's a little bit shiny. It's not quite dry. Looks good, really happy with this. Not so happy about, I hope it doesn't rain. That'll destroy everything. So anyway, keep going. So chassis all painted. 2 coats of KBS Rust Seal, and then 2 coats of top coat over the top of that chassis, or satin black. So that's had a week to go off. Looks great. So now, I took a few parts off the chassis before I got it dipped. So I was worried about them rusting between, or if there was any rust between the chassis and the piece, and there was. You can see a bit of pitting there. Nothing to worry structurally about, but I wanted to get that cleaned and then painted. So I took some of these off. The spring hangers, they get a lot of force on them, so I just wanted to make sure they're right. And the bump stop, whatever, blocks or something, and the front spring hangers too, which I haven't done them. But what I've decided to do, the rivets are like 11 mil, the original Toyota rivets. So I don't know, maybe that translates to 3/8 or something. But so when you take them out, you end up with an 11 mil hole. And I've got some bolts. These are automotive bolts, so they've got a 14 mil head, 10 mil shank, high tensile 8.8s. But if you put them into, that's the same hole there. Actually, no, that's a 12. If you put them into the old rivet hole, they're really floppy. They're not very tight. So because they're on these brackets are on the spring, they're getting force on them all the time. So anyway, so what I've decided to do is I've reamed them out. I've reamed the 11 mil out to 12 mil, and then I've cut myself a like a located dowel. That's 316 stainless, so it'll have a bit of tensile strength in it as well. So, and then I've reamed out the chassis from the 11mm to the 12, and so that locates in there. You have to like tap it in with a hammer. It locates beautifully, and then I'm just going to crank them down with the high tensile bolts, spring washers, maybe a bit of Loctite. But before I do that, I'm going to sand that black paint back off underneath there, paint it again wet, paint this again wet, and assemble it wet. Because I think there's something about clamping like pieces with paint in the middle. I don't think it's a good idea, like dry paint. Anyway, I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure if it's good or not, but that's what I'm going to do. Same with all of them. So there will be paint in between the part and the chassis. I'll just use the rust seal, but it will sort of be, well, it'll be uniform, so I'll crank it all down, so it'll be uniform thickness, I guess. Anyway, that's what I've decided to do, and that'll be, I reckon that'll be really strong. So yeah, these are the parts. The steering box bracket, I'll do the same thing. And they're the front. These front spring hangers were riveted, 2 rivets, and then they were welded. Both my chassis were the same, so I guess it's sort of semi-factory. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do again. I'm going to bolt them, then I'm going to grind all the paint off, weld them, then repaint over the top. They're pretty flimsy brackets, what they do. Both chassis, the suspensions were hammered. You see the bottom of this bracket, like you can see the wear from the rubbers on this bracket. Oh, you look at this bracket where the rubber must have been worn, and it's worn into the bottom of the bracket. I mean, man, that's hammered. So that's what alerts me to. They take a lot of tension, so I'm going to do that locating method. They're all my steering clamps, all been ready for painting. So the trouble with the rust seal and all that is you've got a limited pot life. So I try and have as many things to paint all at once as I can. Anyway, that's the go. So you can imagine how much time there is in that. So I've got the rod. The rod unfortunately is 1/2 inch. So I had to buy a 1/2 inch ream to ream it out, and then I've got to ream out the 10mm ID. So the shank of the bolt up there is exactly 10mm, and that's exactly 10mm inside there, or inside these little locators. So everything's really nice and tight, and therefore shouldn't move. That's the plan. So got all the chassis holes reamed out to take the parts. All the parts have been acid etched or metal ready, cleaned. So there I'm going to paint them with the rust seal, and then top coat them wet on wet with the chassis top coat tomorrow. So I'm all ready to go. All the bolts have been cut to the right size to fit in. So we bolt all them on, and once I've got all them on, I'm going to seal, although I've painted as much as I can inside the chassis through the little holes, I'm going to seal with the Eastwood chassis seal. This stuff, internal frame coating. So just put that in the chassis. This comes with a like a large tube or a longish tube and a multi-drilled like head. This thing it was all curled up, so I've been putting it here to focus. Not going to focus. Anyway, that's it. So that just goes on the head of the spray can. You drag that thing along inside. Yeah, so then I'll start working on the springs and put them on. Going well. All the suspension parts, after bloody hours and hours of preparation, we've got 2 coats of rust seal and 2 coats of top coat chassis paint on them. No, looking good. So all ready to assemble on the chassis. That's the next deal. And get the diffs together and God only knows, start working on the cab. Got the spring hangers on, all bolted down. So now I'm going to, oh, these ones aren't, so I'll use, it's too hard to get the nuts on through the little holes. So when I flip the chassis over, I'll let gravity help me out there. Front one's there on, so now I'm going to turn the chassis over, put those last few in, and fit the springs. Just spending a little bit of time here after work. Cleaned up the exterior of the diff centers on the weekend, so I'm just giving them a paint. Put the rust seal on first, and now a couple of coats of top coat, so they can go in the housings which are on the chassis on the weekend. Been using my zinc coating machine, so I've zinc coated the ends of these U-bolts. I painted them and I thought, oh, I'll zinc coat the ends. So once I hook them around the diff, I put the zinc coated bolts on, washers on. Anyway, we'll see how it looks. So this is the hairbrain scheme. So it's in the zinc bath. You can see they're getting zinced. So that's what we're doing. So I'm preparing all the parts on the weekend. I can start to put a few things back together. The detail is amazing. So time consuming. Getting a few parts back on the chassis. All my zinc plated parts on. Coming out good. Bit of fun fitting it out. Bit of a break from wire brushing. Rusted crap. So here's all the zinc plating I've been doing. So now it's all putting all this stuff onto the chassis. Want to get all the diffs bolted in, then start to put the knuckles back together in the front, slip the diff centers in. I've had to wait on the diff centers because the diff flanges, you can see where the seal rides is no good, so I've ordered some speedy sleeves. Both of them are the same, and on the donor they were worse. Old mate's peened out where the dust seal goes, but I'll put something on there, hold that on. So that's why I can't put the diff centers in. They're ready to go, minus the diff flanges. So I've got new seals. So it's all good, that's where we're at. So this is my way of dealing with the hydrogen embrittlement. You know where they're going, right? They look like little cadmium plated chips. Good to see a little bit of bling going on. Really happy with the results. So I've got both hubs on. Settle the preload up. It's nice. It's looking good after bloody weeks of sanding, wire brushing bolts and stuff. Finally getting it on there. So far, so good.